Last week, Tokyo's move toward exporting a sophisticated air defense missile system to Manila gravely escalated tensions in East Asia. According to multiple media reports, the government of Japan and the Philippines have held informal talks on a potential transfer of the Type 03 medium-range surface-to-air missile, a step that would mark a dramatic shift in Japan's post-war arms export policy. The missile system, also known as Chusam, is capable of intercepting aircraft and cruise missiles and would significantly boost the Philippine air defense posture. But Tokyo's defense ministry has denied the reports. When approached, a spokesperson stated flatly, "It is not true that we are discussing export of Chusams." That denial, however, comes amid an acknowledged review of Japan's defense equipment export restrictions, part of a broader policy shift under the leadership of current Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi. For decades, Japan enforced strict limitations on exporting lethal weapons, guided by a doctrine rooted in its pacifist post-war constitution, notably the 5 non-combat categories rule: rescue, transport, warning, surveillance, and minesweeping. Yet, pressure is growing to end these self-imposed constraints. Under Takaichi's administration, Tokyo aims to scrap such limits by early next year. Once lifted, it could significantly broaden the scope of what Japan may export, including major weapons systems. If the export of Type 03 missiles proceeds, it would mark one of Japan's first transfers of a fully combat-capable missile system abroad. Defense analysts view this as a defining moment in Japan's transformation from a passive buyer of foreign arms to an active security provider for allies in the Indo-Pacific. For Manila, acquiring the Type 03 system would represent a shift from internal security and counterinsurgency toward a broader territorial defense posture. The Philippines has only recently started to build ground-based air defense capabilities beyond anti-insurgency operations. With rising tensions over contested waters in the South China Sea, where Chinese vessels and aircraft increasingly challenge Philippine maritime claims, the system could provide a much-needed layer of protection. The 50-kilometer engagement range and radar-guided interceptors would strengthen the Philippines' capacity to defend key coastal installations, ports, and infrastructure against possible aerial or missile threats. Moreover, the deal would deepen Manila's military integration with long-standing U.S. allies. Some analysts argue it could bring the Philippines closer to the front lines of a broader regional security architecture, potentially including U.S. defense installations and radar facilities in the broader Indo-Pacific. Unsurprisingly, the mere suggestion of Japan arming a regional partner triggered a fierce reaction from Beijing. Chinese commentators described the prospective export as a direct challenge to regional stability, pointing to Japan's post-war pacifist constitution and arguing the move threatens to revive Japanese militarism. A spokesperson for China's defense ministry warned that a Japanese-Philippine missile deal shall provoke widespread outrage and ultimately face the judgment of both history and justice. China's sharp criticism reflects deep concern over its strategic periphery, especially the South China Sea and the zone between Taiwan and the Nansei Inquester Islands, where recent Japanese deployments and military posturing have rattled Beijing. Indeed, the Type 03 missile system that Japan reportedly plans to export is the same type slated for deployment on the island of Yonaguni Island, located just 110 kilometers from Taiwan. Beijing has already condemned that deployment as extremely dangerous, a move that could further destabilize cross-Taiwan Strait security dynamics. Despite widespread reporting, Tokyo's official denial of negotiations over Chusam exports does not necessarily signal an end to the broader process. The government's intention to revise and abolish the non-combat exports-only rule remains firmly on the table. At the same time, the diplomatic row has cast a spotlight on a broader security realignment in East Asia. As Japan sheds elements of its post-war identity and expands its defense role, both allies and rivals are scrambling to gauge what that means for regional balance. Tokyo appears poised to transition from a constrained post-war defender to an outward-looking security partner with the Philippines as one of its first potential beneficiaries. For Manila, such a partnership could mean bolstered defenses against an increasingly assertive neighbor. For Beijing, it is a worrying sign of coalition building aimed at containing China. Policy shift becomes official. If Japan formally abolishes its export restrictions, other nations, not only the Philippines, could become future recipients. This may mark the emergence of Japan as a full-fledged arms exporting nation, again a sea change since its post-World War II pacifism. Philippine acquisition and deeper US. Alignment, a confirmed sale and eventual deployment of Type 03 missiles in the Philippines could integrate Manila more deeply into a broader missile defense and early warning architecture. That, in turn, could make the Philippines a key strategic node for allied forces, especially US, in a potential Indo-Pacific confrontation. Escalation with China. Beijing's sharp warnings suggest that any such transfer could provoke robust countermeasures, from diplomatic protests and economic retaliation to increased military activity around Taiwan, the South China Sea, and the East China Sea. Regional arms race. Other Southeast Asian states or US regional partners might seek similar capabilities, prompting a broader rearmament cycle, especially air defense and missile defense deployments across the region. The discussion between Japan and the Philippines over the potential transfer of the Type 03 missile system may be characterized by denials and disclaimers, but the underlying geopolitical trajectory is unmistakable. In the span of a few months, Tokyo has moved from a restrictive post-war posture to actively considering becoming an arms exporter and security provider. Manila stands to gain enhanced defensive capabilities just as tensions with Beijing rise over the South China Sea. And for Beijing, this is yet another sign of alliance building aimed at circumscribing China's influence. Whether the missile sale goes through or not, the mere possibility has already reshaped strategic calculations across East Asia, reminding all parties that the region's security architecture is evolving at a fast clip, with Japan at the heart of the transformation. In the end, the controversy surrounding Japan's possible missile export to the Philippines reflects far more than a single defense transaction. It marks a pivotal moment in the Indo-Pacific, where long-standing assumptions about power, security, and regional responsibility are shifting at unprecedented speed. Japan, once defined by post-war restraint, is now navigating a landscape where strategic caution increasingly collides with mounting regional threats. The Philippines, for its part, is seeking partners capable of strengthening its defenses at a time of growing pressure in the South China Sea. And China's fierce reaction underscores how sensitive the region has become to any move that reshapes the military balance. Whether or not the missile deal ultimately materializes, the debate has already exposed the deep anxieties and strategic rivalries that now shape the Indo-Pacific. It signals a future in which alliances harden, deterrence becomes more complex, and smaller nations find themselves pulled into the gravitational contest between larger powers. As discussions continue in Tokyo and Manila, one truth is increasingly clear: the decisions made today will influence not just bilateral ties, but the entire regional security architecture for years to come.